Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z.
And I'm Keith.
And we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show.
The annual Shock Rock 2 Hollerween Stream Along Spookathon.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a teenager, oh God, I don't exactly remember who it was. I just remember someone relaying to me about someone they knew that wrote a song.
Okay.
And it was like, they were really into like metal,
Okay.
new metal, things like that. And I remember the lyrics of the song. I don't remember who it was specifically, but I do remember the lyrics of the song.
Okay.
Which was, monkey see, monkey do, I'm going to kill that monkey too.
Heavy.
And I just remember thinking, that's so fucking stupid. And that's something I think about all of the time since then. I've thought about that. It did not have music to it. They just wrote the lyrics to the song. Right? Mm-hmm. So it was just monkey see, monkey do. I'm gonna kill that monkey too.
That rhymes.
Mm-hmm. Man, the amount of men who
Are good at things. Just
who are like,
automatically.
I can write a metal song, and then they just write the lyrics. Well,
Not everybody can.
not everybody that does it is a man, but okay. I've listened to that song before on repeat. I think Moby did a cover of it.
A cover. I think you mean he sampled it without.
Well, he sampled it without permission.
Yeah.
Back when he was in a relationship with Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Event Horizon did not disappoint. Like,
No way. It's every time I watch it, I like it more.
it's so. Yeah, I'm watching. I woke up this morning and I was like, they absolutely left it open for a sequel. There absolutely could have been a sequel. And I was like, it's such a fucking, I mean, it's a tragedy and it's not, because it's such a good movie. And sure, if they tried to do a second one, it wouldn't have been as good. But like, man, it hits it. Ugh. It doesn't over explain things.
Correct.
It doesn't exactly tell you, like, even
Right.
when Jolie Fisher is like,
Which one's that?
Jolie Fisher, Jolie Richardson. No, Jolie Fisher is not.
No, it's Richardson.
Richardson, yeah, Jolie Richardson.
But which character is that?
Jolie Fisher is Carrie Fisher's sister.
that true?
No wonder that was stuck in my head. Julia Richardson. She's from the Richardson family.
Oh.
/ Redgrave.
Oh.
Her
The
mother
Stark,
is
then?
the white lady that was not. I don't know who. I don't
one
know
who
their
survives?
names. Yes, the white is
The
spoiler.
character's name is Stark.
Okay. I know Miller because
Miller!
because we kept saying that, but also because when they blow up the tunnel from between the front and the back of the ship, she says,
I know.
so quietly.
His name patch, too, is like the only one that's legible to me. It's like right here. And it's red.
I know that Jason Isaacs is in it as Jason Isaacs. Yeah, I don't know anyone's name.
I believe he was
Weir.
DJ.
I know Weir's name
Very good.
because of Dr. Weir from, I think, Stargate Atlantis. Yeah.
Yep.
And that was it. I was like, oh, Weir.
That's weird.
That's weird. So, God, yeah. The plot of the movie
And
is...
Justin. They say Justin's name 1 million times.
Who's Justin?
Baby Bear.
Aw. That was sweet when they... I liked when she called him Baby Bear, but it was... You're like, okay, whatever. But he goes, Mama Bear, what's
know.
going on? And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, that was really what's... I was like, shit.
Yep.
Even though...
I think I'm getting softer because that actually worked. I don't know. I can't explain why it worked because I could see it not working.
Yeah, for sure.
With very minor differences that I couldn't even name what they were. But like it implies a history together
Yeah.
without
Yeah, without having
Showing
to...
it.
Yeah, without forcing it or doing a lot of...
Cooper calls him Baby Bear too when he's going after him.
Yeah. Yeah. This is an aside, but it's sort of related. The fall of the House of Usher, it's already made me get a little weepy when Bruce Greenwood says that when he like accuses Carl Lumley, when he's like, you're the reason they're dead or something like that, whatever he says. And then he says, I'm going to take that from you. That's not something you need to carry. I was like,
Yeah.
it was just the way he said it. I was like,
Yeah.
I was literally like crying. I was like, stupid. I don't get it. And then when I don't remember if it was the first or second episode. I don't remember. It might have been, I don't remember which episode it was. But when, Bruce Greenwood sees something and he yells and Carl Lumley is like, you don't do that. And he says it with so much emotion, like he's holding back tears while saying, don't you ever do that again. I was like, if he doesn't win an award for this, then fucking what the fuck? It's truly like, but it reminds me of that because it's like, those are things that you wouldn't feel emotion for if they weren't done the right way. Like you wouldn't care. You'd be like, okay, whatever. But like, so.
He sure knows how to fucking cast.
He knows how to cast and he knows how to write something and direct it in a way that you're going to be like, oh, this thing is going to make
direct this though.
Oh.
Interestingly
That
enough, I
makes some
noticed.
sense. That makes some sense. It does feel atmospherically slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes some sense.
I mean, it's very clearly recognizable as a
It's totally
jam. Anyway,
this is the last thing I'm going to say about, but this isn't about the fall of the House of Usher. It's just about Flanagan in general. I don't know who in his family is gay,
right?
but he fucking loves writing gay characters, does it real well, and as a fucking cisgendered white dude.
I feel like it's
he
only
writes,
ramped up too. Like,
he will be like, oh, what if we just made a lot of the characters really gay? And don't even talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to show them eating pussy or something. You're like, oh, what? Okay.
yeah, thanks. House of Usher gone woke.
God.
It's full of gays and brown people.
It's true. I will say this. Midnight Mass.
If Poe was alive right now, he'd be rolling in his grave.
He'd be rolling under the floorboards with that heart of his. Fucking.
He'd be walling himself in with a cat to fuck.
Like Midnight Mass, when Annabeth Gish was just like an out lesbian in a small town, I was like, oh.
A small town is an understatement.
Right. In an island with 50
Isolated
people.
fucking.
I was just like, oh. I was like, oh, this isn't just a thing that he peppers in. I'm like, oh, this is a signature. He has to have a fucking hot ass lesbian queer woman. And they're never like super young. He never makes them like the youngest one or like the, like the flirtiest.
Yes,
he
right.
always makes
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's great because it makes it not dismissible.
Exactly. Oh, anyway, Event Horizon. It's stupid.
Unclear how many people are gay.
It's true. It's stupid good. Just, yeah, I was like,
I was thinking, like, wow, what a credit to the editors because it's so dense and knowing that a lot was cut or lost or what have you,
Yeah.
both. Like, it's still cohesive. Like,
very much so. Yeah.
and that's very impressive. It's very dense, really.
Yeah.
And again, you could see another movie just really suffer. And apparently, the theatrical release, Anderson did not have it. It was edited in a rush by the studio.
Oh, wow.
They freaked out because Titanic came out the same year.
Oh, yeah.
And same studio. And they were like, this thing is bloated and not going to come out on time. So they were like,
Ugh. They just like kind
And also, I think this was according to Anderson.
I want told a story.
Okay. As Anderson explained, directors usually have a standard 10-week editing period to produce the film's final cut, as guaranteed by the Directors Guild of America. However, due to the short production schedule, the rapidly approaching release date, and the fact that principal photography had not finished, Anderson agreed to a 6-week editing period and promised to deliver the film by August 1997. As Paramount wanted a hit film before Titanic's planned September release.
Wow.
When the main unit wrapped, Anderson was supposed to start editing, but he had 2 weeks of shooting left with the second unit,
Oh, wow.
shortening post-production to just 4 weeks,
Oh, my God.
during which only a rough cut could be assembled. He noted that at 2 hours 10 minutes, it was overly long, with weak direction and acting that could have used another editing pass. Unfinished special effects, and a poor sound mix.
Oh, wow.
In test screenings, the cut was poorly received. There were complaints about the gore.
Ugh. Fucking bitches.
Anderson and producer Jeremy Bolt claimed that some members of the test audience fainted.
Man, they're the same thing, like the movie Raw.
The Eddie Murphy stand-up.
Yes, the movie Raw. No, it's a French movie, I think, and it's about cannibalism, but like not like basically this girl. It's kind of hot. Especially the way it ends, I was like, but basically this girl like starts getting like a craving for it. There's no way to describe it where it doesn't sound.
I think you've tried to tell me this.
It doesn't. It's not gonna sound. It's like a very artsy, very interesting. She's like in college, and she starts sort of craving human flesh, but like in a very chill way. Like she just
Right.
and I think there's a scene where like someone accidentally cuts off their finger in front of her and they pass out, and she like grabs the finger and she's just like sitting there and then she starts eating it. I think that's the only thing I can imagine. People were like, or it was like people passed out in the viewing for this movie. And I was like, is that what did it? Because that was the only thing in the movie that could possibly be. It was not like the movie was not even as gory as this movie. Like it was not. There was hardly any blood. It was just I was like, was that the scene? Because I couldn't. Like, when I watched it, I was like, which part did people pass out at? Because none of this is
Well, maybe it was
even registering for me.
It wasn't a test audience. It was
No, it was like at Cannes or something.
Oh.
People were like passing out or something. I don't fucking know. Wherever it was. Yeah, it was like in
It's just because nobody's eating.
probably. But I was just like, it's not. So anytime someone's like, people reportedly passed out, I'm like, those weak ass bitches have never seen a horror movie. I don't know who's passing out watching a movie.
Someone fainted in the audience at my high school graduation. True story.
Okay, but have you ever been at a youth gathering for a church and had someone start uncontrollably writhing on the floor and rolling to a degree?
Raffle Mal.
Well, sort of. They were doing like, I'm assuming they were probably having some kind of seizure.
Okay.
But they were rolling on the floor and no one could like, you know what it looks like when an alligator does like the tail flip? That's how they looked on the floor and they were screaming uncontrollably. And so everyone assumed that they were possessed by a demon and took them into another room and stood over.
Why not the Holy Spirit?
Yeah. And they stood over her and they all prayed for her for entirely too long. And it freaked my shit out really badly. So has that ever happened to you? Yeah, it has. Anyway, I mean, passing out is one thing, but if someone is demon possessed in your youth gathering,
You're doing it right.
I was just like, I kept being like, I felt like really sick to my stomach at the time, like over the whole thing. Like I felt like literally like I was going to puke. And they were like, it's because you can sense and I was like, oh. And then as an adult, I was like, oh no, it's because I was entirely uncomfortable with them crowding someone who's possibly was seizing and they didn't call an ambulance. They didn't call anyone. And she was black too. So and a bunch of like white dudes were like standing over her. Yeah. So that was cool. A bunch of people they were all like laying hands on her too, which is like, that's like a big thing in the church. You have to lay hands on people for it to, and like, no, you don't.
But do you really?
You don't have to lay hands on nobody, okay? Anyway. Yeah, I just can't. Sometimes I worry that I'm one of those people that like, because people will be like, in the like sort of like, I don't know if it was late 90s because I didn't interact with it until like early aughts where they would have like those websites that would have like people's dead bodies and like crime scene photos and shit. And people would like jerk themselves off on the internet and be like, oh, I scroll those websites for fun. And like, I never did that. And I would always be like, I guess I'm really sensitive. But like, I've actually like been around people that like have died and like have like seen like, like really graphic stuff. And I'm just like, okay, well, it just happened. And I'm like, oh, am I actually worse than those people? Because I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's just like people die. That it just happens.
Yeah, you're worse because you bring it up all the time.
Like, I don't enjoy seeing, like mutilated corpses, but it's not because it's like going to make me throw up or pass out. I'm just like, it's not fun to look at that stuff for me. But if you show it to me, I'm going to be like, ooh. Like, I'm not gonna be like.
I just assume I will not be able to handle anything.
That's fair, but that's sort of what I mean. Like, you will get like overwhelmed seeing something, and I'll be like, "Oh, is that something that?" Oh, and
Well, the great thing is that neither of us, we should be careful not to use the other as any kind of benchmark for like normal.
that's true. Yeah, this is something we had done. Like, I'd be like, I feel like I'm autistic because I do this, and you'd be like, I do that too. So, and I'd be like,
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't last very long. Yeah, but
yeah, you'd be like, I do that all the time, and I'd go, well, and he'd be like, all right. Anyway, I don't even know how to talk about Event Horizon really because it's so good.
Yeah, this is one where like I don't feel like we need to try to synopsize the plot because.
I mean, I will do it anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's such a. I feel like it's I think what works about it is that it's a simplistic plot. Like, it's just it is like, I mean, like the reasoning behind things. It's like they had a ship that went out, like the ship Event Horizon did something and disappeared for years. And then it showed up again one day, and so the crew of this ship, captained by Lawrence Fishburne, is going to do like search and rescue essentially, and that's pretty much it. And like Sam Neill is like the scientist who worked on creating the Event Horizon ship, and
the drive specifically. Right?
Well, yeah, but they don't know that like when they start. And when they get there, he explains to them that what he did specifically was create essentially like a singularity or something for the ship, like to travel through space.
Yeah.
And he doesn't explain how. He just explains what it does. He says, we just created this thing. And I appreciate that.
He does the piece of paper phone call explanation.
Yeah, he does the piece of paper. He does the piece of paper phone call.
Now, what's the shortest distance between 2 points?
A straight line.
Wrong. The shortest distance between 2 points is 0, and that's what the gateway does. It folds space so that point A and point B coexist in the same space and time. When the spacecraft passes through the gateway, space returns to normal. It's called a gravity drive.
How do you know all this?
I built it.
But it's not like it's like that's what we needed it to do.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like it's.
But they get there, they get on the ship, and then like they don't see anything at first. They have no idea what happened to anyone. They don't know where or if anyone is still alive. They're looking around.
Find one body.
Well, not yet.
Right?
Well, yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay,
and
sorry.
then and then as they go along, like, like they see like a hand, and then like you'll see
Or
like
glove.
a flashlight like will pass, or like a light will like hit an area, and you'll see there's just like guts everywhere.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like, it's like while someone's back is turned, they don't quite see it, So you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And then, there's like an entire, I think that's the only one that they find, right? That's the only like full
I think so, yeah.
dead body. So there's like a singular dead body in the bridge, like on the bridge of the ship or whatever. And oh man, when they turn the gravity on and it just goes,
Oh, yes.
oh, fuck. And so they don't know what happened and they're like trying to figure it out. And they basically are just like trying to figure out what happened. Something like their ship gets damaged. And so they have to go to the event horizon while their ship gets repaired. And I really like that whole, all that misdirection
Yeah.
and stuff because they're like, okay, our ship is getting patched up, so we have to, be on the event horizon because there's no oxygen on our ship. Like it's depressurized, so they have to like patch the hole, and then like they're like
Move
on
the
the event
O2 scrubbers back and forth.
So and like they go to the event horizon and like fucked up shit is happening, but they're like, we don't have enough oxygen to like last us. We only have a little bit. We only have enough for like a day at most, like not even. And so they're like they're trying to get everything done. They're trying to get like their ship patched up while the event horizon, shit
that's the other
keeps
thing.
happening.
When they first board Event Horizon, it's fully operational.
Yeah.
The ship itself is
Fine.
fine.
Yeah. It just doesn't have like, it's just
They're getting those weird life sign readings.
Yeah, they're getting weird life sign readings, but they don't have like enough like oxygen, basically. They don't have enough O2 scrubbers. Right. And that's basically the only thing that's like quote unquote wrong with the ship. So if I remember correctly. So while they're trying to get their ship repaired, they're on the event horizon and fucked up shit just keeps happening. And it's so fucking cool. Just all the things that they do. It's such a tight movie, but like we stopped it, we paused it, and Keith was like, oh shit, it's been an hour already. And I was like, okay, an hour. I was like, how much is left? And he was like, 30 minutes. And I was like, fuck. I was like, no. It goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Like it's like an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes, something like that between that.
I believe.
And it's just like so good. And they like when they're on the event horizon, it's really, I like how Sam Neill's character, Weir, is like almost immediately, as soon as he gets there, he's just like being weird, basically. Like, and there's never a real explanation of that.
Right.
Fucking the part where he's like, I am home, and just disappears into
I know.
And it's like, what the fuck?
It's basically the Homer Simpson meme of him back into the hedge.
I am home.
Smoke bomb.
It's so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
But it's such an interesting movie. Like the ways that they fuck with people. I think the only things that I find a little bit cliche / unbelievable
Unbelievable.
is Lawrence Fishburne. The story that he had about the guy burning up, like that was fine because that's the thing that's haunting him. But when he's like,
he was screaming for me to save him.
What did you do?
I did the only thing I could. I closed the lifeboat hatch and I left him behind. I swore I'd never lose another man.
didn't need that.
Yeah, I know.
If that little line had been left out, that would have been way more meaningful, and you would have been like, holy shit.
Don't die, damn you. You've never given up on anything in your life.
And what is that from?
Take your pick. A million movies. It's one of my favorite cliches.
And then
I think The Abyss has my favorite.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When they're just beating the shit out of is it Mary Elizabeth's Master Antonio?
Yeah.
Apparently she walked off set during that. Go figure, because
Yeah.
they kept doing reshoots and she was soaked. She was soaked and
They were
shirtless.
beating the shit. Yeah.
And they're just
Fucking.
I think it's Ed Harris too. And if it was, you know he's not holding back.
Oh, yeah, no. He's like, I'm just going to... That reminds me of the time that I did Hell House when I was a teenager. You're
All right.
welcome. All the people who I scared into being Christians for 5 days. And mine was
Street.
This is horrible. Now, I was 13 at the time, so you cannot fault me. You can fault my parents. I will be absolutely fine with that.
Okay.
I played a school shooting victim.
Oh, yes.
And this is like 1998. Okay, I was 13 years old. So this was like this was like right after the first big one happened. Or that I remember.
Oklahoma City.
Yep. Right
The Bowling Green Massacre.
It was right after Columbine. And everyone was like, oh. So I played a student who died because in a school shooting because I was a sinner. And the line that was said by the devil demon walking everyone through the hell house. He said, poor little Jody who died in her sins. That was what he would say. And then he would kick me in the chest. And I've told you about this. I know that I've told you about this.
You have.
And he, all during rehearsal, he pulled that kick perfectly. And he was like, is this good? And I was like, you're doing fucking phenomenal. Everything's great. As soon as I said that, he started full on kicking me in the chest. And it was right in my tiny little 13-year-old mushy growing tit. And if you've never grown tits before, you won't realize that, like, when you start developing them, they're all just knots. It's like when you get a knot in your back or whatever, and you know, it needs to get massaged out. It's like that, but it's all tissue in your tit. So you're just in constant boob pain once they start to develop. And you have they're just so mushy and weird at the same, you know, you start getting, they're just uncomfortable. I hated it. I hated the process of developing tits because it was like, they just started poking out enough that like my nipples were extremely obvious in anything that I wore, but I didn't have enough boobs to like warrant a bra. And also a bra was extremely obvious.
Right.
So I was just embarrassed of my entire body. So this grown-ass man, a fully adult in his 30s man, was kicking me in my boob while I was 13 years old in Hell House. I guess that's what I get for doing Hell House, you know. I mean, you know. Sorry. I was punished enough, I promise you.
Poor little
physically,
Jody.
I know. So, yeah.
They didn't even bother to do what a chick track would do of like, oh, they didn't repent.
Yeah.
They hadn't accepted Christ, and now they're going to hell because
yeah, I think
they're like, oh, I'll do it later, and look what happened.
yeah. And then like they were gonna do an abortion one.
Fuck yes.
And they didn't, and I don't know what it was, but I do know it involved like raw chicken, and that's all I knew was that they were gonna
The one
have.
they do on King of the Hill, where like, here comes Grandpa, or what happened to Grandpa?
And he takes the fucking, it's a gorilla, and he takes the baby and he starts hitting it on shit.
We can't
and they're
do
like,
anything.
Stop, Grandpa. And they're like, we can't stop it. Evolution is taught in schools. Oh my God. It's so fucking funny. That's one of my favorite fucking episodes. Goddamn Sally
That's
Field.
just one of my favorite scenes. Oh, Sally Fields is
Sally Field. Yes.
The Kathy Bates character?
Yes. God, I fucking love it. She's so fucking funny. So yeah, Event Horizon. Man, yeah, like it's just so like I love how much blood comes out of people's mouths. That's one of my things. I love it when people have
I love when he's in the airlock and the
Yes. But then he also like when it opens,
It won't be
he
pretty,
goes,
but he'll live.
he just spits.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Jason Isaacs, all you hear is cutting, and he's going, and he's just gurgling blood in his mouth. I'm like, oh, as if I don't want to already fuck Jason Isaacs. Then he's gurgling blood. Come on. Oh. Oh, the things that aren't believable. Okay, so the Lawrence Fishburne that was cliched. And the thing that's slightly unbelievable for me is Kathleen Quinlan. When they're like, we got to get off the ship, they know fucked up things are happening. They all are fully aware.
Yeah.
No one's hiding it or lying about it. Thank God. I mean, Sam Neill is a little bit, but he's like the
sure.
baddie, so it's not, that's fine. But everyone else is coming clean, and everyone else is like, yeah, I see some shit. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And they're all like, this is fucking crazy. Whatever. She sees her kid, and she runs after him. And I'm like, girl, one, your child can't walk. Because they show him multiple times in a wheelchair.
That's right.
Like, which I'm not, like, trying to be, like, but I'm like, why would you run after... Like, what?
Yeah,
he wasn't saying anything. He wasn't like, help. He wasn't triggering any sort of...
It didn't bother me, surprisingly. You'll be surprised.
I am very surprised by that.
Because I think one of the whole things about whatever the force is or whatever is that it doesn't only show you horrible things, it fucks with your judgment.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, and it also like specifically does something that's gonna be. It basically triggers you. It does something specifically to trigger you. So I get that. I just didn't. I'm not saying that I. It's just like my only.
What if he'd been in a wheelchair?
Then I
Going
would
through that that tiny.
Well, that's the thing. It's like he isn't like trapped somewhere and being like, help me or something.
Yeah,
he's not like...
I agree that it's kind of weak.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
give you
all. That's all I mean is that like there's nothing that is... Because even the first time she sees him, like his legs are all like smashed up and stuff. And I understand because, when you see him in like videos, he's like disabled. You see he's disabled and so in her mind, like she's, like the weaker, the more, harmed, the more in danger he is, the more fear she's going to feel. Mm-hmm. So seeing him up and walking around, I feel like would diminish. She would be like, her sort of like senses would be like, wait, what is this?
Let me ask you something. Do you have children?
I don't know. I've never talked to any of the women that I've slept with to know if I've ever gotten them.
Follow up. And then you can come back and judge that scene from this one film.
I'll tell you one thing. I've breastfed enough people. Might as well be, mommy. I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. That was so funny. You're welcome, listeners, because I'm so fucking funny. You get to every week hear me say shit. I just don't. I don't know how. I don't know how you all are so blessed.
Send us an email. Let us know how blessed you are. And how you do it.
Or if you need a cock rating.
I heard reading.
I don't understand it.
Like a fortune telling.
That is one of the most popular things that people do.
Oh, I know.
I don't understand it. And not...
Well, I think we have a friend who would enjoy
That's
it.
not what they're normally done for, though.
They're not done for humiliative?
Nope.
Humiliative?
Nope.
They're just legitimate, like...
They're just literally like, tell me what you think. And like,
I hope then that whoever, the people asking for that, if they get a rating, then use that with sexual partners.
Yeah, no, that would be, yeah.
Well, so-and-so told me. So you have no right to complain.
I've asked 3 separate OnlyFans girls, and they all had me in the range of 7.5 to 8.5 of a rating.
Out of
10. I'm assuming, because they didn't say that. I mean, it's...
Right.
Anyway.
Man, we gotta. I want to rewatch some more some Patty Rates Animals or whatever that was called.
Didn't they scrub that? I thought they
Last
scrubbed
time I
that.
looked for it, it was harder to find. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I feel like a lot of her stuff, like the Beauty and the Beast thing. Do you remember she did the
Oh,
Beauty and
yeah.
the Beast? That is I can't find that anywhere. I couldn't even I Googled it and I couldn't even find it. It was so fucking funny. Anyway,
This time I was besides things I already mentioned, I was very impressed with the sets.
right? I was thinking the
So-
exact same thing. You said that this morning, and I was like, I know, but I was like, that's so dumb. What I meant was, I feel the same way. I was like, very much like, oh man, this set design, because it's got that. It's a thing that I never. You never see it in movies anymore. How it looks like almost antiquated, and like even for the time that it comes out, oh god, the way they open the door with the fucking hole puncher or whatever, like, oh my god.
Totally, that's totally what it is. What is it's your star-shaped hole punch from Fiskars.
Yeah.
Only it's metal and
Yeah, oh god,
unnecessary detail.
absolutely, yes.
The
gorgeous.
shit that really tripped me out was the the doorways, the archways that
Yes.
look like they were meant to evoke
Art Deco shit.
the drive room is its whole fucking
Yeah,
own
oh my
thing.
God. I love-
Ridiculously ornate.
Ornate, and also like the most dangerous
Spikiest.
place to ever.
No, how it looked like stone, like a castle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I read something. Part of the design of the ship was based on the Notre Dame Cathedral. I don't know.
I can believe
how,
that. I can believe that.
except that it's a cross shape.
Oh yeah. Oh. Oh my god, I'm dumb.
You are.
Fucking, but like the scene where Kathleen Quinlan is like standing in the.
Probably my least favorite character.
That's fair. The scene where she's in the medical or the sick, I don't know, medical area, whatever, and she hears that pounding.
Oh yeah.
And there's like, she's backlit and you're like, what? It just looks like things are just hanging like from the ceiling or something, but like supposed to be there. Like it's part of the,
okay.
And you're just like, what is this? Like this room looks like it's dangerous to be in.
And it's the sick bay.
Exactly. And I was like, oh my God. But she's backlit and like it just looks so scary.
Yeah.
Just her standing where she's been and just from a different angle, you're like, ah! Loved it. And like when they're in that like weird sort of like corridor that just looks like it's a circle or something and with a hallway in front of it and it's kind of green. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like they revisit it a few times. I think it's where Lawrence Fishburne, it's the same area where Lawrence Fishburne tells Jason Isaacs about the guy that he'd never told anyone about before. And it's just greenish. It's that greenish color that you used to see in movies all the time that you never fucking see anymore
Right.
because no more film.
Because digital.
And
Yeah, there was
love it
one
so much.
explosion that had some green and the fireball, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And their the close up of their eyes whenever they would look one, because they didn't overdo it.
True. It happens like 2-3 times.
Yeah.
Max.
And it happens to different degrees.
Right. Yeah, good point.
So you don't see so it's never it's not repeated. You see it in to different degrees and you see it at different distances. Like
Yeah, right.
they don't it's not the repetition over and over to tell you, oh, this thing's happening again. And that makes it more
Impactful.
more impactful, but almost like you're like, oh, is it doing something different this time? Is something, it makes it more mysterious. It's just, there's so much detail in this. Like this is one of those movies where like its downfall led to how good it is. So it's like so bittersweet because like if it had come out, if anything else had been done to it, if it had been like even not having more of the hell footage in there, like the tragedy is that you can't see it as a bonus feature, but like I don't know if it would add to the movie. I don't know if anything else could be there's very little, like what I've said about this movie complaint wise is my only complaint with the movie. And those are like 2 tidbits in a hour-and-a-half movie, full of characters and things happening, mishaps, explosions, like all this shit. And those 2 things are like, but those aren't like, this is why I don't like the movie. They're just.
I was also thinking about, this is much more abstract. And I mean, this movie made me, watching this film again, made me think of this. So, but it's not necessarily specifically about this film, you know what I mean? Like, that I remember a thing that kept me from thinking I would enjoy it was thinking that it was going to be cliche.
Yeah.
And not offer anything new.
Yeah.
But then every subsequent viewing, because I've seen more movies, specifically genre movies, I appreciate what it does do differently.
Yeah.
And what it does.
Yes.
Of what it avoids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's seems counterintuitive,
Well, how so? How does it seem?
Well, because I assumed, like, even the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this is different than I thought it was, but it's still kind of an Alien ripoff, or it's a Hellraiser ripoff, whatever I thought it was. You know? But the more...
Yeah.
I don't know, It's counterintuitive to myself, I guess.
I see. Okay. I get you. I think the first time I watched it, I thought it was going to be over the top. And it is over the top.
Right.
But not in a way that feels contradictory to anything about the movie itself.
Right.
Like it stays within its own, it stays within the reality it creates for itself. It doesn't over-explain things. It doesn't, I think the most comical part is the fucking Foley or whatever, or the sound effects. They're so cartoony but it's almost like perfect because I think if it sounded too realistic, it might make you might be like, oh, this isn't fun, And it's a movie that as like creepy and fucking otherworldly as it is, it's a lot of fun. When you're watching, you're like, oh shit. And Sam Neill's demise, just inexplicable. Like he just is like, I think I like it here. Like there's no, he just kind of flips a switch and is like, actually, I'm not really into fucking killing and shit. And I love that because I don't need you. I know that like, movies like The Shining or like, stories like The Shining, it's like the point is like their descent into madness. And it's like, okay, that's great. But sometimes it's not a descent. Sometimes it's just a lateral move.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes someone's like, oh, I can do that here.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. They don't make you like they're not like, I mean, in a sense, he sees his wife and she's like, I have so many things to show you, We
have such sights to show
Yeah. But you don't feel like his motivation is that he wants to be with his wife.
Oh, no, yeah.
And that's why it's interesting because he's not like, at least I know that I'm in hell, but at least I'm with my wife. You're like,
yeah.
Come on. No one loves that much. Like, I'm not going to fall for it. What is this, Fringe?
Oh, God.
I swear to God, when they were like, it's your love. And I was like, oh, I don't think this show's good.
Yep.
Maybe this show is always bad.
Right. Welcome to every J.J. Abrams. Oh, this is so cool. Nobody's done it. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, actually. Close enough. Would you recommend?
Of course.
Yeah. Any caveats to the recommendation? I think I would tell people that if they don't, I would say, like, if you don't like, oh man, there's an aspect of like, I can't explain it. Okay. But it feels super BDSM. It feels like a movie that, like, if you're into BDSM, you'll like Event Horizon, even though that's not at all what it's about. It's just like there's so many like people hanging from hooks and like barbed wire around your eyes kind of shit. And it's like, that's not BDSM, but it's like the slash fiction of BDSM.
If you're into 9 Inch Nails, you'll love it.
Like, but did you hear what I said?
I guess not.
It's the slash fiction of BDSM, like that's sort of what, that's what it feels like. It's like if you're into BDSM, you'll think it's hot, like I don't know what it is. That's what it feels like. If you're like, I don't like body horror, I don't like anything where if you don't get turned on by the idea of Jason Isaacs' insides getting turned inside out and then hanging from hooks, you're not going to like the movie. But if that is kind of hot, you're gonna fucking love it. You're gonna be like, bruh. Jason Isaacs, who hasn't aged at all since this film. Like, he's one of those people that, like, aged into his own face,
Yeah, right.
Like, it's like, there are certain people who had, like, a face that was, like, slightly too old for them.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're okay.
But you can't tell that's what it is.
Exactly. And then they age into it and you're like, this is what it is. They weren't old enough. Even though they were 45 at the time, they needed to be 70 to get to that hot level. Which one are you laughing at? Okay.
In 1997, Here are all the films starring or in which Kathleen Quinlan was in that came out in the year 1997. Lawn Dogs, Event Horizon, Breakdown.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Zeus and Roxanne.
Zeus and Roxanne. Have I seen that? Zeus and Roxanne.
I don't know. It sounds like a...
Breakdown. That one's with...
A touching friendship story between a dog and a dolphin.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that one. Even though I was 12, I didn't see that.
Even though it stars Steve Guttenberg and was directed by George Miller.
Who?
George Miller.
Who was that?
Mad Max. Mad Max.
The HBO app? I was like, are you trying to say Mac and me? Fucking, what's great is I was 12 in 1997.
That is great.
The only one of those films I haven't seen is the child one. And I saw the
children's film.
The child one. Yeah.
Yeah. That is great.
So, yeah, who knew we were going to do half of Kathleen Quinlan's 1997 oeuvre in just 2 months on the podcast. You're welcome, Kathleen.
Don't get at us. Not only was the gyrosphere drive thing a real model physical set, so was that corridor with all the fucking moving parts.
Nuh-uh. I love it. He's like, it looks like a
Meat grinder,
yes. I was like, no, it does. Yeah, they had to have like
right?
added some effects to it though because it looked too
Probably.
fake.
Yeah. Fucking.
That's
insane.
crazy.
The shit. So, hearing people talk about this movie was probably, I think, the first time I had thought about it or it had been pointed out to me that, like, because some of the CG really kind of sticks out
Yeah.
in this movie, but it would not have on film,
Yeah.
and it definitely would not have on video.
Correct. Yes.
So that's just something to know. If you haven't seen this,
Yeah.
and you're going to watch it on DVD
Yeah.
or
Blu-ray.
you know, you maybe
Well, 4K restored.
exactly. It's coming. Don't worry. Ultra high def. The Cooper character, which is the rescue guy.
Mm-hmm. Not
Painful at times,
at times.
and I feel like it's not the actor's fault. It's
No.
just how it's written. Like sometimes he's funny, but it's really rides that edge of like,
Yeah.
oh, here we got this character's funny because he's a black guy.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
and listen to him. Listen to how he talks.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
sounds
the comedic-
he sounds black.
The
He ain't putting up with no mess. But the shit where he's out, he gets projected out, and then he
God.
shoots himself back.
That-
Amazing, and then he gets shot in the helmet face.
yeah.
All that is fucking ridiculous,
Yeah.
and I kind of love it. I mean, for me, it's a tonal. The tone does not fit the.
No, yeah, it doesn't. But it's
And I love but I do love when Miller saves Justin,
yeah.
and when he's coming to get him, and he's just
Oh my
flying
God,
through
yeah.
the-
When he's like,
so good.
yeah.
Captain, Justin just activated the door. It's on a 30-second delay.
Stand by for decompression in 25 seconds.
Yeah.
So good. Where am I? It's shit like that. Like by itself, if you saw it in another movie, you'd be like, but they do it once. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's too dramatic. effect.
And what I like about that scene with Baby Bear is that he is they don't like it gets depressurized.
Mhm.
And like they're not quite in space. It's
Right.
seemingly they're like within the atmosphere, so they're like it's not like super, it's not the same as like, which I think is smart because they can do more things. And
Wait, but that's confusing because
I don't know, whatever. It's fine. It is confusing, but it's fine. Anyway, so when they're like, it seems like they're within the whatever. It doesn't matter. When it's being depressurized, it's not this thing where like hold your breath and then everything will be fine. Immediate, like before it even fully, like it starts
Yeah.
to depressurize, and he's like, "Oh God, I can feel it happening," and they're showing it, and then it's like they do a really good job of like it's only a few seconds, like it really is only a few seconds. He is damaged,
yes,
irreparably damaged
Right.
from that, and so you're not watching it and being like, "Oh, that's unbelievable," because no one would survive that. He barely did. And so you're like, oh, okay. Like that's really terrifying because there would be no
Oh, yeah,
there
right.
would be no way out of that. Like
right.
at best, he's barely alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can get. And they don't fucking sugarcoat that or make that. Like, it just, the only thing is when it happens later,
Yeah.
the same thing doesn't happen. But it's fine. I don't care. They make
No, I
you
don't
not
really
give a
care.
shit about it.
Yeah, I don't really care. And they go so ham on Fishburne, coming up the
Yeah.
cable or whatever, and he's just like,
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was like,
I don't know why I absolutely love the captain's chair on his ship.
absolutely.
How it's suspended, and that's just a great design.
I agree. We have,
Sean Pertwee, we have not talked about. He's pretty good.
yeah, I guess so.
Son of, I think his dad's name is John. Third Doctor. The mod one. Probably my favorite one.
I'm trying to think of what I know him from, which is something I know him
Yeah.
from.
As I said to you last night, he was in Gotham, which I watched, a season of. He played the Alfred.
He was, wait. He was in Equilibrium.
Oh, your favorite movie? Richard T. Jones played Cooper.
Mm-hmm. I think he was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Oh, okay.
I think, if I'm...
Jack Noseworthy played Justin, Baby Bear.
He was in... I thought he was super fucking hot when I was a kid. Because he was in the Cad File series. I think it might have been just... Wait, how many... Was it... He was in 4 episodes of Cad File. I fucking loved Cad File. This had...
Was that like one of those...
It was a
PBS
masterpiece mystery. Yeah.
Okay.
It was just like, yeah. It was a... let's see. Medieval, the monk, it was a... what's his name? Derek Jacobi played... He was in 13 episodes. I didn't know it had 13. 10 episodes. Yeah, this dude was only in 4 of them, but he was super hot to me when I was a kid. So yeah, that's what I knew him from. I was like, what do I know this man from? He is seared into my brain somehow, and I can't figure out what it is. Cat File.
He's gotten way more grizzled. Has like a super gravelly voice now.
Yeah.
You probably want to gargle that gizzard.
Gross. I'm looking to make sure that I'm not talking out of my ass in...
Yeah, I would say... I get if you are, like...
Yes, he was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Okay, I'm not wrong.
Oh, Jones? Richard T. Jones?
Yeah, Richard T. Jones. Yeah. I love his voice. He's just got this, like... Oh, he was also in... I'm going to double... He was also in... Kiss the Girls, I think. Let me double check. He played like... Maybe I'm wrong about that. Yes, no, he was in it. Yeah, of course. I don't know why he was in it. Yeah. He played like the boyfriend of... What's his name from the movie?
I'm trying to remember that movie. My brain went straight to the Bone Collector.
It's not
And then...
a different black cop. Morgan Freeman. He plays Morgan Freeman's
Girlfriend.
niece's boyfriend. So, yeah.
So,
So, yeah. Anyway.
yeah, I would say because the gore is very effectively shocking
Yes.
because it's shown without warning, basically.
It's shown without warning, but I also feel like it's not... I feel like they show you not totally how it's done.
Right, and it's not gore like you're watching people get
Yeah. It's not like Scream.
murdered or dismembered or stabbed. Yeah, right. Vivisected.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
You're walking into the aftermath of that.
well, that too. To me, the part that is the visions.
Yeah.
That's the part that's like, well,
Yeah.
and that I could understand if you were not. I can understand that you were not expecting that.
Yes,
and that if,
correct.
Given that it would be like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, yeah, treat this like you're going to see a Hellraiser movie. Go into
Correct.
it with that mindset, and
Also-
then you'll be nicely.
Sorry.
You'll enjoy, hopefully, the
Yes.
sci-fi setting of it, rather than thinking it's a. I mean, even compared to Alien, it's like somehow more graphic.
Yeah, for sure.
and brutal. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. So I would say this, though, and this is a very serious, saying that makes it sound completely undermines. If you, like, it strobes a lot.
Oh,
So if
yes,
that's something
that's
that
true.
you
Good
struggle
point.
with, or
Thank
if that's something that's like a problem for you, do not watch this
Yeah,
movie.
lots of
There's
fucking
no
strobing.
warning. It happens randomly. You're not going to be able to figure out a pattern for it or anything. They don't, just be aware and mindful of that. There's a lot of strobing. This is tragically our final Hollerween episode.
they grow up so fast.
I know. Now, I'm not saying that we're not going to do any horror
Sure.
again between now and next Halloween.
Oh,
But we're
certainly we will.
already planning for next year. I mean,
We are?
it's our I am. It's our favorite time of the year, if I'm honest. You wouldn't know
It's hard to tell.
the lack of me doing anything this year because of stress, but it's we love Halloween, we love Hollerween, we love horror, we love doing this. But since it's the end of the month, the last of the series, which do you think is your favorite? This one's a tough one because we got three new ones,
Yeah.
and then a classic that we love. So
Good job, us. What did we start with? Why
Night of
did
the
we-
Creeps.
Night of the Creeps. Oh, yeah. Fuck.
and then it was
Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat. And then it was Sometimes They Come Back. Probably the weakest of all of them. Still a treat.
Yeah.
Still good.
Yeah.
Still remarkable despite the fact that it was, or especially considering it was a TV fucking movie. I mean, honestly, I assumed this was going to be the case. Event Horizon might be my favorite.
Yeah.
Trick or Treat's coming up a solid number 2 because that one was just, I mean, it's partially because we just did the, like, we just put that episode out and I took a bunch of screenshots.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. But Night of the Creeps,
Night of
that
the
was
Creeps and Trick or Treat, both
solid.
wonderful surprises.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Randall, for
Yeah.
suggesting.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah. But I mean, I think Event Horizon's my favorite out of all of them because it's so much. There's just so much. There's a real Hellraiser feel to it, Also, I like when Jolie Richardson is like, she explains, she's like, I think the ship's alive and I think that's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't like that explanation. She's like, well, I don't really have anything else that I could say. And they don't explore that more, but you get the idea that like that's how she's
Views it.
views it. And so that is an interesting thing because they don't they don't turn the ship into a person.
Right. Yes.
But Sam Neill does also imply that like the drive has like merged with the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like aware, but like but you don't know if the drive is using the ship or if the ship is like self-conscious or self-aware. You don't know what's going on and they never explain it. And that's I like that they don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. So much of it is left.
Yeah.
I think I like, like, we talked about this, I guess, last year when we were doing Hellraiser stuff. Because the new one came out, or was that 2 years ago?
No, that was last year.
That, like, for whatever reason, like, that I haven't yet been able to pin down for myself, that the Cenobites are always going to be disappointing to me.
Interesting.
Like, the premise is exciting and interesting, and then it's always going to be a letdown. I don't know why. It's just because I think it's one of those, the more you try to explain it, the less interesting it is.
Yeah.
The Event Horizon avoids it while doing the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, like so many, like, as hinted at, there are scenes that are almost directly lifted, it feels like.
You're with me. And I have such wonderful, wonderful things to show you.
And, the Hellraiser as a franchise, the sequels just are not consistent about anything. And that's a known quantity. So you're not watching it for that.
Right.
But this avoids a lot of that, they say the ship's been to another dimension, basically.
Yeah.
They don't call it hell. They say it's like hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you get some Latin splashed in there.
Yeah.
But that can be explained away by the captain, the first captain of Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Just
randomly
knows some Latin phrases, so maybe that's him.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a
it's not literally
Christian demon.
Yep.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Deniability about it.
What are you looking up?
I was going to... Yes. Anderson's initial reaction to the script, which involved the cruise ship Event Horizon experiencing a series of hauntings by, quote, tentacular aliens, it having crossed the threshold of their planet or dimension, was that it bore a striking resemblance to Alien. Producer and longtime collaborator Jeremy Bolt felt it was a terrific concept, but was very dense in terms of length, and the storyline was a bit lost. Anderson did not want to direct a mimicry of Alien, so he gave the script a major rewrite, picturing a classic haunted house movie. He incorporated significant influences of moderately successful horror films such as The Haunting, 1963, and The Shining.
Nice.
Because they created suspense from the unknown. The evil presence was hidden from the viewer, and their endings induced ambiguities of perception in the audience.
Yeah.
He said he was also interested in the concept of hell and of, quote, the ship itself being possessed rather than going, oh, it's an alien consciousness that's doing this.
Yeah.
And added those to the script.
Nice.
Anderson also said that the science fiction film Solaris, 1972, was an inspiration for him.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Screenwriter Philip Eisner acknowledged that Warhammer 40,000 influenced the story.
I don't know what that is.
Warhammer? It's a tabletop game, and there's all kinds of video games.
Oh, I didn't know that was from...
I didn't know it was that old.
Yeah.
The game, I guess, the tabletop game goes back to the 80s. In the setting of Warhammer 40,000, spaceships travel the galaxy bay passing through, quote, the warp, a parallel dimension where faster than light travel is possible. conceptually similar to hyperspace in Star Wars, but which is also inhabited by evil spirits that can infiltrate a ship and possess the crew if said ship is not properly shielded.
Nice.
Fans consider Event Horizon to be an unofficial prequel to Warhammer, where humankind discovers the warp and learns of its dangers the hard way.
Oh, shit.
Filming took place at Pinewood Studios. Anderson modeled the Event Horizon ship after Notre Dame Cathedral using an architectural CAM program. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I don't know what that is either. Oh, fuck.
Effects supervisors Richard Urisic and Neil Corbold kept most visuals in camera, and moving sets were constructed for the gyrosphere gravity drive and the revolving tunnel. For scenes depicting zero gravity, the actors were hung upside down in harnesses and spun around. The original script had more zero gravity scenes, but budget constraints had the filmmakers introduce magnetic boots. Because the majority of scenes were filmed in a studio on Gothic-inspired sets, Anderson felt the cast experienced a kind of cabin fever that better served their performances.
Nice.
All right, that's all the reading I'll do.
I have to piss really bad, so
Yeah.
I'm ready to wrap it up. Though I don't want to wrap up the...
I know, it's sad. It's
I
always
know.
sad.
It is sad. But you know what? I think
Hey,
it'll be fine. Because we're going to...
the ending is totally, we didn't talk about this, pretty ambiguous and totally leaves it open for the possibility of a
It
sequel.
does. Well, I did say that.
Oh, did you?
I said it. Yeah, it's open for sequels, and you said it is.
I apologize.
And
you pointed out that it's a woman and a white woman and a black man that survived.
Yes.
Which is unusual.
Especially
Night of the Demons.
Right. And I think that makes it, I think I would have hated the Lawrence Fishburne.
Surviving?
No.
Oh.
Because it's ambiguous whether or not, like, him and Sam Neill are on Event Horizon.
Right.
And then, or on half of Event Horizon. And it's sort of like, you don't know what happens to them.
Right.
And I would have hated that if it was like two white people that are free. But that's not what happens. It's like a woman and a black man. And so I'm like, oh, okay. That's why I think it doesn't feel as, because they didn't kill everyone for the sake of killing them. They didn't only save the main characters.
Right.
You know, they did a lot of stuff that's like, you know, you didn't have to perform a certain way. You didn't have to be super good. You didn't have to be any, you know.
Avoid premarital sex.
Right. Like you didn't, like, because, I mean, in a sense, like Kathleen Quinlan is like the mother.
Right.
And she dies.
Yep.
And then you have, you know, Jason Isaacs, who you're meant to assume suffers from some pretty intense PTSD. Because it's when they're like, what do you do? And he's like, trauma. And then they laugh. And so I assume that he has trauma from trauma, you know. And then, you know, like you have like the one dude, Petrie or whatever his name is. Pertwee, yeah. Him, who's like an engineer. I don't know what he does. Like, is he, you know, and he's like, just so like, we have to, you know, normally he would be the one that survives because he's like, we have to get off this ship. Yeah. We can't be on the other ship. We have to be, you know.
And he goes so hard at
Weir.
His death scene.
Yeah.
Was so devastating to me, not because of his dying and how, but like when he's like, no, we got to go back. And he's like, they just had pulled all the scrubbers off of it in Horizon. And they're like, no, we got to get back on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he's like, wait, the explosive is probably in this room with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, but it's like normally that he really wouldn't be a character, or if he did, it would be like, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, it doesn't. Yeah, they're just the characters they choose to keep are an interesting choice.
You can't guess it.
Yeah, correct. except for how we told you who they were. Anyway, yeah, I like it.
Watch it if you haven't and you're a fan of
Yeah.
horror and sci-fi. It actually
And Sam Neill.
manages to be both.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Samuel.
Yeah, it manages to be
Samuel.
Samuel. Okay, that's good. That's weird.